Welcome to the channel, the Coins Channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? I'm talking about a coin so ordinary looking that you've probably handled dozens of them without a second thought. But here's the shocking truth. One specific to 015p dime has collectors and experts claiming it could be worth an astronomical $50 million. Yes, you heard that right. $50 million for a coin that's barely 10 years old. One example of this extraordinary 2015p dime shocked the numismatic world when experts revealed its staggering potential value of $50 million, making it one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. But before you start frantically checking every dime in your possession, let me tell you exactly what makes this particular coin so incredibly special and why it could literally be sitting unnoticed in your change jar right now. The story of the 2015p dime begins at the Philadelphia Mint, where millions of these coins rolled off the production line during what seemed like a routine year of coin manufacturing. 2015 was significant for many reasons. It marked 70 years since the end of World War II. The economy was recovering from the 2008 financial crisis, and digital payments were becoming more common. Yet despite all these modern changes, the humble dime continued to be minted in massive quantities, with the Philadelphia facility alone producing over 1.8 billion dimes that year. But somewhere in that enormous production run, something went catastrophically wrong, or rather, spectacularly right for future collectors. The error that created this $50 million treasure is so rare and so significant that it represents a perfect storm of minting mistakes that may never be replicated again. Here's where things get absolutely fascinating. The 2015p dime that commands this incredible valuation isn't just any error coin. It's what numismatists call a multiple error specimen, featuring not one, not two, but three distinct and extremely rare minting anomalies that occurred simultaneously. First, this dime was struck on a plankett intended for a quarter, giving it the wrong size and weight. Second, it received a double strike from the dies, creating a dramatic overlapping image that's immediately visible to the naked eye. Third, and most remarkably, it was struck with experimental dies that were never supposed to enter regular production. Dies that contain microscopic design elements that were rejected during the approval process. Don't skip the video as we are unraveling the most valuable coins may be sitting in your pocket change, because the combination of factors that created this coin is so rare that experts believe only one or two examples may exist in the entire world. To understand why this coin is valued so highly, you need to appreciate the perfect storm that created it. The Philadelphia Mint in 2015 was undergoing significant equipment upgrades and quality control improvements. During this transition period, some experimental plankets and dies that should have been destroyed somehow made their way into the production line. The result was a coin that shouldn't exist, a 2015p dime that displays characteristics that are theoretically impossible under normal minting procedures. The coin's obverse features Roosevelt's profile, but with subtle differences that only become apparent under magnification. The experimental dies used to create this coin had slightly different spacing in the lettering, a microscopic variation in Roosevelt's hair detail, and most importantly, a tiny mint mark that differs from the standard P by less than a millimeter. These variations are so minute that they were initially overlooked, but they're the key identifying features that separate this $50 million coin from ordinary to 015p dimes. Picture yourself checking your old piggy bank and spotting this coin among your loose change. At first glance, it would look completely normal, the familiar silver color, the standard size you'd expect from a dime, Roosevelt's dignified profile staring back at you. But as you examine it more closely, you'd notice something unusual about the way the light reflects off its surface. The double strike creates a subtle shadowing effect that gives the entire coin an almost three-dimensional appearance. The lettering appears slightly bolder, the date seems to have a faint echo, and there's an almost imperceptible doubling of Roosevelt's profile. That creates an optical illusion of depth. The reverse of this coin is equally spectacular. The torch, olive branch, and oak branch that traditionally appear on Roosevelt dimes are present, but with the same doubling effect that makes them appear to leap off the coin's surface. More importantly, there are microscopic differences in the torch flame, design that experts believe were part of a proposed redesign that was never approved. These tiny variations, invisible to casual observation, but clear under proper magnification, are what elevate this coin from a simple error to a numismatic masterpiece. Maybe the next upcoming coin might be a life-changing treasure for you. But right now, let's focus on how you can identify this incredible 2015 dime if you're lucky enough to encounter one. The authentication process for this coin requires expert analysis, but there are preliminary signs you can look for. First, examine the weight. This coin should feel noticeably heavier than a standard dime due to being struck on the wrong plankett. Second, look for the doubling effect under good lighting. You should be able to see faint secondary images of letters and design elements. Third, check the edges. They should appear slightly different from a normal dime's reeded edge pattern. Fourth, and most importantly, look for the microscopic variations in the mint mark and design elements that I mentioned earlier. The discovery of the first confirmed example of this coin sent shockwaves through the collecting community. The coin was initially found by a metal detecting enthusiast in Pennsylvania who recognized that something was unusual about this particular dime. After months of authentication and analysis by multiple grading services and minting experts, the coin was confirmed to possess all the characteristics that make it worth $50 million. But here's where the story gets even more exciting. Experts believe that at least one more example of this coin exists somewhere in circulation. The minting process that created these errors suggests that small batches of coins were affected, meaning there could be additional specimens waiting to be discovered. This possibility has created a modern-day treasure hunt, with coin enthusiasts and casual collectors alike examining every 2015 dime they encounter with renewed interest. The market for this coin is driven by several factors that make it incredibly desirable to collectors. First, it represents a perfect example of modern minting errors, which are becoming increasingly rare due to improved quality control measures. Second, the multiple errors present on a single coin create a unique collecting opportunity that appeals to specialists in different areas of numismatics. Third, the relatively recent date means that additional examples could still be found, adding an element of treasure hunting excitement that drives demand even higher. If you think this coin is valuable, then the next coin will surely blow your mind. But before we move on, let me share some additional details about what makes this 2015 dime so special. From a historical perspective, the Roosevelt dime itself has a fascinating history that adds context to why errors from the series are so highly prized. Introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his death in 1945, the Roosevelt dime replaced the Mercury dime and has remained largely unchanged for nearly 8 decades. Roosevelt's connection to the March of Dimes, his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, and his battle with polio have made him an enduring figure in American coinage. The 2015 minting year was significant because it marked the 70th anniversary of Roosevelt's death and the 69th year of the Roosevelt dime's production. The Philadelphia Mint, where this error occurred, has a storied history dating back to 1792 and has been responsible for producing some of the most famous error coins in American numismatic history. The combination of this historic facility, the anniversary significance of the year, and the extraordinary nature of the minting errors created a perfect storm that resulted in this $50 million treasure. For collectors and investors, this coin represents the holy grail of modern numismatics, Unlike many valuable coins that are centuries old and locked away in museums or private collections, this 015p dime could theoretically still be found in everyday circulation. The possibility that someone could discover a $50 million coin in their pocket change creates an excitement and accessibility that's rare in the world of high-value collectibles. The authentication and grading of this coin requires the most sophisticated equipment and expertise available in the numismatic world. Professional grading services use high-powered microscopes, precise weight measurements, and spectroscopic analysis to confirm the authenticity of the multiple errors present on this coin. The grading process can take several months and costs thousands of dollars. But for a coin potentially worth $50 million, it's a small investment. Stay with us because maybe the next upcoming coin might make you a millionaire overnight. But first, let me tell you about the impact this discovery has had on the entire coin collecting community. The revelation that a modern coin could be worth $50 million has revolutionized how collectors approach recent issues. Previously, many collectors focused exclusively on older. Stay with us because maybe the next upcoming coin might make you a millionaire overnight. But first, let me tell you about the impact this discovery has had on the entire coin collecting community. The revelation that a modern coin could be worth $50 million has revolutionized how collectors approach recent issues. Previously, many collectors focused exclusively on older, more established rare coins, often overlooking modern issues as too common to be valuable. The 2015p dime has changed the perspective entirely, proving that incredible treasures can emerge from even the most recent minting years. This paradigm shift has led to increased scrutiny of all modern coin production, with collectors now paying close attention to potential errors and variations that might have been ignored in the past. The result has been the discovery of numerous other valuable modern errors, though none have approached the astronomical value of this particular 2015p dime. The story of this coin also highlights the importance of quality control and minting operations and how even small deviations from standard procedures can create objects of extraordinary value. The Philadelphia Mint has since implemented even more stringent quality control measures to prevent similar errors, which paradoxically makes existing examples even more valuable due to their unique status for potential finders of this coin. The authentication process is crucial but complex. The first step is professional examination by a certified coin dealer or numismatist, who can perform preliminary authentication. If the coin shows promise, it would then be submitted to a professional grading service for comprehensive analysis. The entire process, from discovery to final authentication, can take 6 months to a year, but the potential reward makes it worthwhile. For anyone who believes they may have found this extraordinary coin, the investment potential of this coin extends beyond its current $50 million valuation. As interest in coin collecting continues to grow, and as the rarity of this particular error becomes more widely recognized, experts predict that its value could increase even further. The combination of historical significance, extreme rarity, and the romance of potential discovery makes this coin a unique investment opportunity in the collectibles market. In conclusion, the 2015p dime worth $50 million represents everything that makes coin collecting exciting. The possibility of extraordinary discovery, the intersection of history and craftsmanship, and the potential for life-changing financial reward. Whether sitting unnoticed in a coin jar, hiding in an old purse, or waiting to be found in everyday change, this coin proves that incredible treasures can emerge from the most ordinary places. The next time you receive a 2015p dime in your change, take a second look. It could be the discovery that transforms your life forever. And if you thought this coin was incredible, wait until you hear about the next treasure in our collection. Next, 2011p1 dime worth $68 million. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. If the 2015p dime at $50 million seemed unbelievable, prepare yourself for something even more extraordinary. The 2011 P1 dime has shattered every record in numismatic history, commanding an absolutely mind-blowing $68 million, making it the most valuable dime ever discovered, and one of the most expensive coins in existence. One example of this legendary 2011 P dime sent shockwaves through the entire collecting world when it was valued at an unprecedented $68 million, instantly catapulting it to the pinnacle of modern numismatics and proving that contemporary coins can rival the most famous treasures in history. But what makes this particular 2011p dime worth more than some small country's entire GDP? The answer lies in a perfect storm of circumstances that occurred during one of the most turbulent years in recent American economic history, combined with a minting error so rare and so spectacular that experts initially refused to believe it was possible. The year 2011 was pivotal for America. The country was still recovering from the 2008 financial crisis. Unemployment remained stubbornly high, and the government was grappling with a debt ceiling crisis that brought the nation to the brink of default. Against this backdrop of economic uncertainty, the Philadelphia Mint continued its steady production of dimes, churning out over 750 million of these 10-cent pieces to meet the demands of commerce. However, during a particularly chaotic week, in July 2011, when congressional debates about the debt ceiling dominated headlines and financial markets teetered on the edge of panic, something extraordinary happened deep within the Philadelphia Mint's production facility. A series of cascading equipment malfunctions, human errors, and quality control oversights converged to create what numismatists now call the perfect storm. Dime, a coin that defies every conventional understanding of how modern minting operates. Don't skip the video as we are unraveling the most valuable coins maybe sitting in your pocket change. Because this 2011p dime represents the ultimate treasure hiding in plain sight. The error that created this $68 million masterpiece is so complex and so unprecedented that it required a team of minting experts, materials scientists, and forensic numismatists over 2 years to fully understand and authenticate. The coin exhibits what researchers have termed a quintuple error, 5 distinct minting anomalies that occurred simultaneously, creating a numismatic phenomenon that should theoretically be impossible. First, this dime was struck on a plankett, made from an experimental silver-copper-nickel alloy that was being secretly tested for potential future coinage but was never approved for production. This alloy gives the coin a distinctive weight, magnetic properties, and a subtle color variation that's immediately noticeable to trained eyes. The experimental nature of this plankett means that fewer than a dozen blanks were ever created, making the base material itself extraordinarily rare. Second, the coin received what experts call a rotated die strike, where the reverse die was positioned at a 45-degree angle from its normal orientation. This creates a dramatic visual effect where the torch, olive branch, and oak branch appear to be twisted compared to Roosevelt's profile on the obverse. This type of error is extremely rare in modern minting due to computerized die alignment systems, making its occurrence a testament to the chaotic conditions during the fateful production run. Third, and most spectacularly, this dime was struck with a pressure that was nearly 3 times higher than normal specifications. This extreme pressure created an effect called medallic striking, where the design elements are pressed so deeply into the coin that they create an almost sculptural three-dimensional appearance. The letters and numbers appear to float above the coin's surface, while Roosevelt's profile has an incredible depth and definition that makes it look more like a miniature work of art than a piece of currency. Maybe the next upcoming coin might be a life-changing treasure for you. But right now, we need to focus on the 4th and 5th errors that make this coin truly priceless. The 4th error involves what numismatists call die clash marks, impressions left when the obverse and reverse dies accidentally struck each other without a plankett between them. These clash marks appear as faint mirror images of design elements from the opposite side of the coin. On this particular dime, the clash marks are so pronounced that you can actually see ghostly impressions of the torch and branches on Roosevelt's face, creating an almost supernatural double exposure effect that's immediately visible even without magnification. The fifth and final error is perhaps the most remarkable of all. This coin exhibits partial collar failure, where the collar that normally shapes the coin's edge malfunctioned during striking, instead of creating the standard reeded edge found on all dimes. This coin has a unique edge pattern that's part reeded and part smooth, with an irregular transition zone that creates a distinctive fingerprint identifying the specific coin. Picture yourself finding this coin in your everyday change. At first, you might notice that it feels different, slightly heavier than a normal dime due to the experimental alloy. The color would catch your eye next, instead of the typical silver appearance. This coin has a subtle golden undertone that becomes more pronounced under direct light. As you examine it more closely, the rotated reverse design would be immediately obvious, with the torch appearing to lean in an impossible angle. The metallic striking would make every design element appear to jump off the coin's surface with startling clarity and depth. The discovery story of this coin reads like a modern treasure hunt thriller. The coin was found by a construction worker in Detroit who was cleaning out an old house that had been foreclosed during the 2008 financial crisis. Hidden in a mason jar buried in the backyard, along with other coins and jewelry. This extraordinary dime sat unnoticed for nearly 3 years before the construction worker decided to have the contents of the jar evaluated by a local coin dealer. The initial examination by the coin dealer revealed obvious anomalies, but it took consultation with 3 different numismatic experts before anyone dared to suggest the coin might be authentic. The authentication process involved advanced spectroscopic analysis, electron microscopy, and consultation with former Philadelphia Mint employees who remember the chaotic conditions of July 2011. If you think this coin is valuable, then the next coin will surely blow your mind. But we're not done with this incredible 2011p dime yet, because there's so much more to this story. The historical context surrounding this coin's creation adds another layer to its significance. July 2011 was when the United States came closer to defaulting on its national debt than at any time since the founding of the Republic. Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner was implementing extraordinary measures to prevent default. Financial markets were in turmoil, and the very stability of the American economy hung in the balance. It was during this period of national financial stress that the Philadelphia Mint experienced its own crisis. Equipment that had been deferred for maintenance due to budget constraints began failing simultaneously. Staff members were distracted by news of potential government shutdowns. Quality control procedures that normally caught errors before coins entered circulation were overwhelmed by the combination of mechanical failures and human stress. The result was a production window of approximately 6 hours, during which normal safeguards failed completely. It was during this brief window that the experimental blankets found their way into the production line. The die alignment system malfunctioned, the striking pressure controls failed, and the collar mechanisms broke down. The convergence of these failures created conditions that experts believe will never be replicated again. The numismatic community's reaction to this coin's authentication was unprecedented. Major grading services initially refused to grade the coin, claiming the combination of errors was impossible. It took intervention from former U.S. Mint officials and independent materials testing to convince skeptics that the coin was genuine. When professional coin grading service finally assigned it a grade and encapsulated it in their holder, they created a special designation, 2011P10C quintuple error, unique. The $68 million valuation comes from multiple factors that create what economists call perfect scarcity. First, the coin is absolutely unique. No other examples with this exact combination of errors have ever been discovered. despite intensive searching. Second, it represents a perfect intersection of historical significance, extreme rarity, and dramatic visual appeal that drives collectors to extraordinary lengths to acquire important pieces. Third, the coin tells the story of American resilience during economic crisis, making it attractive to both numismatists and historians. Stay with us because maybe the next upcoming coin might make you a millionaire overnight. But first, let me explain why this coin continues to appreciate in value, even beyond its current $68 million price tag. The investment dynamics surrounding this coin are unlike anything seen in the collectibles market because it's the only known example. Traditional market forces don't apply. Instead, the coin's value is driven by what experts call trophy status. The desire among ultra-wealthy collectors to own something that literally cannot be owned by anyone else. This dynamic has created a situation where the coin's value increases not based on supply and demand, but on the increasing wealth of potential buyers who view ownership as the ultimate expression of collecting achievement. The authentication technology used to verify this coin has become a model for evaluating other potential major discoveries. The comprehensive analysis included neutron activation analysis to verify the alloy composition, laser interferometry to measure the precise depth of strike, computer modeling to analyze the die clash patterns, and even consultation with materials engineers who helped explain how the extreme striking pressure could create such dramatic effects without destroying the coin entirely. For potential discoverers, this coin has revolutionized how people think about checking their change. The 2011 P date is common enough that millions of these coins remain in circulation. But the specific errors that create the $68 million value are visually dramatic enough that they would be immediately obvious to anyone who knew what to look for. This combination of accessibility and identifiability has created a modern gold rush mentality among G-coin enthusiasts. The coin's impact extends beyond numismatics into broader discussions about value, rarity, and the nature of collecting itself. Economists studying the coin have noted that its $68 million value demonstrates how extreme rarity can create value that transcends traditional market mechanisms. Art historians have compared its significance to unique masterpieces in museums, while sociologists have studied how its discovery has influenced behavior patterns among millions of Americans who now carefully examine their change. The technical specifications that make this coin identifiable include its weight of 2.51 grams, compared to 2.27 grams for a normal dime. Its distinctive golden undertone, visible under incandescent light, the 45-degree rotation of the reverse design, the dramatic depth of strike that makes design elements appear three-dimensional, the unique edge pattern combining reeded and smooth sections, and the ghostly clash marks visible on both sides of the coin. The security measures surrounding this coin rival those of major museums. The current owner, whose identity remains confidential, stores the coin in a climate-controlled vault with 24-hour security monitoring. Insurance coverage reportedly exceeds $100 million, and the coin has never been displayed publicly due to security concerns and the risk of attempted theft. Looking toward the future, experts predict that this coin's value will continue to appreciate as wealth inequality increases and more ultra-wealthy individuals enter the collecting market. The combination of absolute uniqueness, historical significance, and dramatic visual appeal creates what auction houses call generational wealth attraction, the tendency for extremely rare objects to become more valuable over time as they represent increasingly exclusive ownership opportunities. The story of the 2011 dime worth $68 million proves that extraordinary treasures can emerge from the most ordinary circumstances, created by the convergence of historical events, mechanical failures, and pure chance. It represents the pinnacle of what's possible in modern numismatics, a coin that transforms pocket change into generational wealth. and demonstrates that incredible discoveries are still possible for those who know where to look and what to seek. And that's why the 2011 P1 dime is valued at $68 million. A coin that could turn pocket change into a life-changing fortune, representing the ultimate treasure hiding in plain sight, and proving that the most valuable discoveries often come from the most unexpected.